For years, our world has been at peace. But something is coming. I can feel it. Dark forces are upon us.
A race known as the Orcs leaves their dying world and emerges in the realm of Azeroth, prompting retaliation from the Kingdom of Stormwind. One orc, a chieftain named Duratan, fights to save his people from the grip of their tyrannical leader Gul'dan, who controls a vicious magic known as the Fel. The good. If you're like me and you haven't played the Warcraft games much, fear not. The exposition for things in this movie is handled very well. It introduces the world in which this movie takes place, keeps things simple where it can, and doesn't get too lost in the details. In a movie called Warcraft, there has to be war. Where there is war, there is action. And with action, this movie has a very particular sense of brutality to it. This level of violence is given significance through orc tradition and values. Not to mention it serves as a good tipping point for multiple character arcs in the movie. And combining that level of brutality with a sense of significance it is shown to have, it creates higher stakes overall for the story and for the characters. Speaking again, as a non-Warcraft player, someone who's not very familiar with the lore, this movie had a hill to climb in order to get me to really like it. And I'm happy to say that the element that really shone for me in this movie was the characters. A few of the more important characters have story arcs that are really satisfying to explore as the movie progresses. And I found these characters engaging me more and more as the movie went on. The iffy. That being said, it did take a little while for me to really get into the movie and the characters. And until the movie got to a point where I really started getting into the meat of these characters, most of what I saw was just performances of a usual fantasy variety, them speaking with a very grim tone, as if everything they say is the most important thing you have ever heard in your life. But like I said before, ultimately, the payoff is good. I will throw this out there that if you're a player of the Warcraft games, you might notice the differences between this movie and the games, and as such, some of those differences might bother you. But honestly, I saw this movie with 3 Warcraft fans, and it didn't ruin the movie experience for them. The bad. There is a lot of fancy terminology to remember, and because it is a fantasy movie, expect to not remember most of what it is unless they say it a lot. The verdict? As someone who doesn't play Warcraft, I gotta say this movie is not half bad. It's got good action, engaging characters, a world that it takes seriously, and even though it doesn't make me want to get up and go start playing the game, as that would probably consume most of my life if I really got into it, I will say I am on board for more movies. This is Detective Steve, and in this, the year of video game movie adaptations, we are 2 for 3.